So first
Wait,
of all,
first
thank
of
you.
all,
Yeah.
Justin, this shirt,
Oh, thank you.
these
I'm giving you a little.
colors.
Yes, let's give it a little AKA.
I
Just
love it.
thank you. I was trying to decide because it's warm in Atlanta right now. It's like probably like 90, and I was trying to decide, do I want to do a long sleeve shirt or a short sleeve? I was like, I'll do a short sleeve. That might be disrespectful.
No, no. I'm over here looking like Flashdance, so
Giving us
Yeah.
a little shoulder. I love the
you
shoulder.
know, give the kids a little clavicle every now and again.
It's thigh meat season, Justin. What are you
hmm
talking about?
hmm
Well, they've been talking about hoochie daddy shorts for the last couple of weeks. I'm like,
I mean, come on. If there's not underbutt, if you're not wearing some shorts that have a little underbutt poking out, are you even doing summer right?
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
I mean, what's the purpose? It's
I need
like,
some underbutt. Give me underbutt.
I'm so mad.
yes. Well, first of all, I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I am really excited to talk to you all. You all were my first ever Broadway show. Thank you so much, Michael. Yes, this is my
Yay.
first. This is my first time. I've been to New York probably like three. Like this is my third time, but this time I
Okay.
went by myself and I stayed a whole week, and I didn't have any like work to do because last time I went it was just work. But this I wanted to enjoy it, so I felt like this wasn't work. This was fun. The hotel was down the street. Me and my friend went to go see it. We were just seeing all the things. And baby, let me tell you something. The play is advertised everywhere. When I told some of my friends in secrecy, they was like, "Oh my gosh! Like I'm so excited for you." My friend, he's a big. I think he knows some of the cast. He was like, "Oh my gosh!" Da, da, da. Shout out to Jonathan. Me and him just had a long conversation earlier. But yes, I'm so thankful for this opportunity to talk to you all because I was taking notes in my head while me and my friend was watching, and I was like, okay, I have questions about this, and that. But let me tell you, y'all were singing and moving around like it was, it was y'all were carrying. Oh my gosh. So, Michael, I was watching an interview that you had did. You said you've been working on this play for 18 years.
Mhm.
Wow, like that's almost 20 years. Why do you think like
Mhm.
why 20 years? Why 18 years to produce this masterpiece?
Well, now it's 18 years to Broadway, so
Okay.
16 years to off Broadway.
Okay.
But the reason really is because I had no plan B. So,
Mm.
and I was working day jobs that I hated. So this was the thing that I loved. So that's what I turned to when I was hating plan A. You know what I mean? And so there was nothing else to do. There was no one was to stop me from doing it. So I just kept working on it.
You sound exactly like me. That was my thing. Like people kept telling me that this YouTube stuff is not gonna work. You're not gonna be able to do this. Like, girl, it's not giving. You need to go find you a real job, 9 to 5, and quit. And girl, I was sleeping on friends' couches and recording, and then I was trying to get this done. So I definitely connect to that. And now you're nominated for a Tony, and that's coming up what like in a week or so. It's on the 15th, I'm thinking.
The 12th,
Yeah,
June
less than
12th.
2 weeks. 10
Yeah.
days! 10 days!
How are we feeling about that?
I'm getting fitted for my tux tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh,
I
okay.
I have a fitting on the 8th. I started building my tux already. It's exciting. I don't know that it's going to feel real until we step into Radio City Music Hall,
Mm,
and then it's going to be like, oh,
yeah.
wow. You know what I mean?
That's kind of par for the course with everything with the show. It's been so long that nothing. I'm still going through it. Nothing feels real to me until we actually do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
until we actually set foot in the Lyceum, I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
this. I still
Yeah.
can't really
Well, you all
fully
transform
grasp
into
it.
you all transform to some very like real people. Like watching it, like y'all were jumping out. Y'all did an amazing job. Listen, I like James when you walked on when you walked in. It was like, hey, I'm self-loathing, and I was like, not I'm being attacked. Not I'm gonna like I'm gonna
Well,
tell
no,
you
like,
your I'm telling you about your inner thoughts, and I was shook.
We all have that. So I'm realizing it's weird. I'm realizing more and more every day how in touch I am with my own self-loathing, because I'm still doing it. I'm still like, wait, I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be here. This isn't really happening. I'm just accepting the fact that we did the show in 2019 off Broadway. Like I'm just coming to terms with like, oh, we did that. So I'm not even present in this yet at all, because I doubt myself, because it's just like, this is such an amazing just blessing right now that it doesn't seem real at all.
It's also that weird thing of like, we're doing all of these like Tony things and da 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 da, and my self-loathing comes up with all of the clothing. I'm like, oh, I don't.
You do bring up the clothes.
I don't have an outfit for this event. Oh, I don't have the like that. So it's weird how self-loathing is real for real, and so the fact that Michael theatricalized that is just, I think, part of the genius of this. But it's part of everybody's humanity. We all do it.
People I come outside from the theater at night, and the people on the sidewalk are surprised that I'm not a bitch. Like, oh,
I'm not going
to you're smiling. Like, oh, you're laughing. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm actually a nice person. I swear to God, I can be a bitch if you need me to. But,
period.
But I swear I'm a nice person.
Yes. I think for me, especially with the self-loathing conversation, I really appreciated like the main character of this play being fat, Black, and dark skinned and queer. Like that is something I speak about on my YouTube channel a lot. There's something that I discuss. And also somebody who was living with HIV, like I was like, okay, now we're really having those conversations that are important to me, and telling the story from this person who is being read by society standards as undesirable and unwanted, and their journey of trying to find love in themselves. And hey girl, like these are the people who are interested in me. And all the things. I was screaming when Usher was naming the apps that he was on. What was it? It was Scrub. What was it? Scrub. I actually downloaded. I think one of them. Was it Growler? One of them.
Growler.
I downloaded Growler later on.
Scrub, Grinder, got Growler, and Adam for Adam.
Growler's that's after my time.
How successful were you on Growler, Justin? Come on, tell the truth.
Yeah, I didn't download it. Did I download it? I was in New York. I was like looking, I was just like, let me get an experience of what it is. But I downloaded Jack too. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, girl, the New York boys are not interested in no boys with no weight on them. So we're gonna have to regroup or something. But she was giving on Growler, but I wasn't trying to have Usher's experience with some of the music that was messaging me.
Right.
I wasn't trying to have that, but that scene, like when I got the email, it was saying, hey, trigger warning, they're going to have a conversation about HIV. I was like, okay, I'm one of the folks in certain spaces, I joke about, like, I make some jokes about being positive. Like when I take my medicine, I call it lifesaver. Like, girl, let me go take my little lifesaver, let me go take my gummy and stuff. Like I make jokes around my friends, but I was really shook about like the sex scene, or if we can call it a sex scene. Like I was taken back. I was like, oh my gosh, like girl, I was looking around like, are we okay? But I think it was necessary, especially for some people who do fetishize bodies and stuff, to see this is how you look.
Well, what were you thinking when you were looking around the audience? Like, what were you looking?
Oh, girl,
I'm curious because we see people looking around. Like,
yeah.
So, what were you thinking in that moment?
I want to see how the white people in the audience felt about seeing that. Like, I want to see how they were responding to that, because there's no shit. I'm pretty sure they have some friends who probably do that and they don't know about it, or probably have heard some stuff. And I want to see how they responded to it. It was live, and I felt like it pushed enough for a conversation, because me and my friends have been having conversations about it, and I think that was very necessary. You said, what you said? What, Mike?
I said, how did they respond?
Oh, they looked like they were scared a little bit. Like, are we okay? Is it okay for us to watch it? And
I think that's so cool. I think that theater can do that, can facilitate conversations like that. I think is the most amazing thing in the world. We are totally watching the audience We've been blessed. Off Broadway, we had like 200 seats. In DC, there were like 300 seats almost. And here there's 900 seats, but you can still see a lot of the faces. And watching people react to the show is the coolest thing in the world. You have to be on stage, one of the 7 of us on stage, watching people receive this, because it's so cool to watch someone looking around, seeing like, is this okay? Are y'all laughing at this? Sitting next to someone crying, sitting next to someone laughing, sitting next to someone who's pissed.
Yeah.
And then they all came together and they all have to deal with each other and they all have to take the subway home and talk about it. That theater is doing that. I think that's so cool to me. So I say, look around. One of the best shows is watching the audience. Like, forget us on stage, but watch the people around you, how they're taking this in.
Yes. John, I love your character too. You were just, I don't know, it's like, it was serious fun for me, watching you. It was like, you were serious, but it was, I don't know how to describe it, but I was like, this is a real woman. Like, this is a real, like, I was really getting a mother from you. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm in my mind, and what I'm doing is I'm playing a woman who loves her son. You know what I mean? And I'm trying. My intention is not to make a joke of that. No. It's to honor that in as full a way as I can. And one of the things that has been a blessing was like getting to hear early on one of the voicemails of Michael's mom, and that sense of play
Dan
that was
found
in. What?
Dan Hartley found it.
Oh, he found it.
So what I forgot was that back before I had an iPhone, I used to record everything on little.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The MP3.
No, the mini
tapes.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
And I had a bunch of them in my closet. And Dan, when he got the podcast deal, there's money in the budget for him to digitize all of it. So he's digitized all my tapes, including that voicemail message.
The one like, guess who died, or which?
Yeah. No, it was that. I made that up, but like this is the day.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing!
Oh, amazing.
So I haven't heard it yet, but he's gonna give it to me when he's done digitizing.
Oh my God!
But
the fact that you kept, like, you have access to all of that is big, because I'm really big on throwing stuff away.
I keep everything.
Yeah. But there's such a sense of play.
I did purge my moods, but I keep everything.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one scene. Okay, like, we talking about family, and me and my friend were having a conversation about it, and I want Michael to tell me if my friend made the right assessment. When you had when everybody came in and to like tell the family's perspective of, hey, girl, we didn't pay for you to go to NYU, where the coins at, girl, like, get Tyler Perry, what's the tea? And he said that the way you showed your family was kind of a critique,
Usher's
maybe.
Family.
You said what?
Usher's family.
Usher's family. Period. Usher's family, like, it was a critique on how Tyler Perry does his plays a little bit, or was it trying to give a little bit of that?
Well, I mean, part of what's happening in the show is that there's this notion that Tyler Perry writes real life, and what Tyler Perry's real life looks like is a mirror of what our life is, or what I understand real Black life looks like. And so it's always this blurry thing of like, oh yeah, I kind of have a cousin who's like that, but there's more to her than what I'm seeing when I see the reflection of her in one of these plays or these TV shows. And it's this thing that's like hard to kind of really communicate, because it's such a hyper specific thing to like look at. But like, when I watch these plays that he would write, I meant the stage plays, when I would watch them, I recognized stuff from my own life, but I was like, but it's not real. But people would say it was real. and it was very popular.
Yeah.
And so I just was sort of interested in like, how do I blur that line, especially if in Usher's life that he's trying to represent, he's trying to show something real. And how do we as an audience member feel that? How do we feel the distinction? Because it's different than like, there's a scene where they're, you know, going around talking about Popeyes and AIDS. Yeah. Like there's an aspect of that maybe feels a little bit like a Black family, but it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
But then there's a version where like, it's just the one mom and dad and Usher talking that's more dramatically real. But even that's not real either. So Usher's, he's dealing with like, what is reality? What is real Black life? What is it? And like, is it a cartoon? Is it a soap opera? Is it, what is it? But like we don't actually like look at the nuances and the complexities and the details of it. We'll never know.
And it's this kid's perception of things that you are watching. So, and in watching someone else's perception of something, you're going to have your own perception of it, of what it should be, or what it might look like in your family or people you know. It's a really interesting thing of what you bring to the table already with a preconceived thought and what you are witnessing on stage.
And how old is Usher? Because this is a younger, like this is Usher in his probably like early 20s. So this is how
he's 25 going on 26.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how he's looking at things at 25, 26. And I'm 34. I'll be 35 in August. 25, 26-year-old Justin is completely different from 34-year-old Justin. So I like that answer. I think that was a beautiful answer of like, what is like Blackness and who gets to decide what is and what isn't. I appreciate that, because I was like, you know, I was getting a little bit like, okay, I honestly, people gonna hate me, but I'm not a big fan of Popeye's chicken. I prefer KFC.
Okay, look, I'm so with you. I try to keep it quiet. I don't talk about it, but I'm with you. But that's all I'm gonna say.
That's all we gonna say.
I had Popeyes last night.
In New York, there's Popeyes. So I've had, for 20 years, I've just had to fix my mouth with some Popeyes. Yeah. It's fine.
Popeyes sort of edged KFC out over time.
Of New York, yeah.
In Detroit.
Really? I don't even know where there's one at home in Boston.
There were a lot of KFCs when I was younger, but as I got older, they just started to disappear, and it was more Popeyes.
Now get me some Church's chicken or some Bojangles, and I'm good.
Church's is good.
Yeah, I prefer. I know we're doing a whole segment about chicken now, but I prefer my chicken. I don't like it too crunchy. I like it a little bit moist.
Yeah. Okay.
But what else? I was really living in the moment. Like I always love watching a film or anything where I feel like I'm no longer sitting down, like I am like the person, and it definitely took me there. Y'all were twirling around the stage. Usher really delivered it to me in the beginning. I was like, okay, girl, like the little, I was like, what is this? But it really set well, and just like to see this fat Black man walk around, and I use fat like as not a derogatory term. I feel like it's praise, but he was moving around, and I'm like, some of these thin girls would not be able to do some of the stuff that he was doing. So Michael, you were like, I'm pretty sure you had a role in like casting and stuff. You wanted to make sure that this was somebody who connected some way to you.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily that they connected to me. It was that they were able to find the character, you know?
Okay.
Because again, like, Usher's 25 going 26. I'm 41.
Okay.
So, I mean, I used me as like a reference point, but I'm different. I'm another person. Usher is a character that has a lot of my ideas inside of him, and so like somebody stepping into that, they just have to find their own expression of that.
Okay.
But I definitely, you know, I did learn early on that what he looked like was important.
Yes.
Because in the two earliest, or like the three earliest iterations of it, like he was woefully miscast. Like,
yeah. He was thin and pretty.
Gorgeous.
like abs and everything. It was
light skinned.
Now that's real Tyler Perry play. Now we gonna give some men some ass.
Right. So that's that perception thing, that mirror thing of like, wait a minute, you say in one thing, but you look like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so I early on learned that it had to be somebody who on some level had access to that experience, because that was an important part of telling the story.
And I think that it's important for that person to live their life, to be able to, I think that helps them tell the story better. And there's no shade to the previous host who paid, but I think that he was able to sell it more because he's probably experienced it as well.
Oh my gosh, Justin, I just keep thinking that this was your first Broadway show.
I love that.
Like if when you go see another Broadway show, you're gonna be like, huh, there's not a fat black guy in the center of the show? Like it's gonna be, you know what,
I've heard things, you know, of course I know a little something, but and my friend said, well, girl, like, you know, well, Broadway is a different world, and he was trying to explain it to me. But I think for me, it was monumental to see someone who looked like me on stage, and this being my first. I
think that's so special. That's so wonderful.
Yes, the person who actually reached out to me, shout out to Camille. She was like, "I love you, and I see the things you talk about, and I would love for you to be a part of this." And I'm glad I was, because it has been a conversation with me. And some of my other friends, they've been encouraged to see it. I haven't talked about it too much. I'm like, I'm waiting till I get my interview first and all the things. And then I'm gonna start like dropping little things and conversations, because one of my other YouTube friends, her name is Kim Foster over at Fort Harriet. She went to go see it not too long ago. And she has a really big, huge following on YouTube.
Yeah, she posted that she had a lot of thoughts about The Strange Loop. There weren't bad thoughts, but she had a lot of them.
Yes.
So curious to see if she comes out with a video about it or not.
She actually, well, this is the teaser. I commented when I saw that she saw it on her Instagram.
Right.
I was like, oh, I would love to know your thoughts. She said that's so interesting. I was going to email you to set up a discussion panel. So she wants to talk about it with me. And I saw some other people who I recognize in my little community of creators and all the other stuff that were there too. I think see Raquel, I think she was there with her family. And I haven't seen much discussion as far as like from the people I watch, but I know they are ready to do it because it was thought-provoking. Yes, I'm excited about it.
There's so much to talk about and so much to unpack and so much to just look at. We've done it. We've worked on this for so long. We've done workshops for this where we just didn't even look at the script or didn't even look at the music. We just sat down and talked for a couple days to talk about our own lives, our own families, our own experiences. Do that. That a piece of theater is making you have some of those thoughts and making you have some of those conversations. Go with that, please. Like I think that's so important right now. We don't get much to talk about like in this world. So yeah, why not?
I love conversations like this. I'm always like following the Twitter thread and all the other stuff and wanting to see what people think about stuff, even if I disagree.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Especially because this is a story, these stories in here, we know these people. This is like, we all do. And that's what I'm so enjoying, people from all walks of life saying like, no, this is my story, or I knew these people, or I know this person. I think that's the most amazing thing. And I'm sure people might be saying the same thing about like a Phantom of the Opera or whatever, but I think this is a more personal thing for so many people, and that it is sparking conversation, I think, is the key thing. In a world where people are not really speaking enough to each other, I think like that this is making people want to talk. I'd say do it.
And that it's transcending more than just black people, because
Mm-hmm.
when I go outside, like I can't tell, like Asian people, white people,
Yeah,
Latino people coming to me and go, "That's my mom. That was
everybody.
my grandma. That was my, so
Hmm.
white, like
That's beautiful.
come up and go, oh, that was my mom. This was how she,
Hmm.
So it's amazing to me that this show is doing that, even though it's black bodies on the stage.
Hmm.
Somehow it is still communicating something
Yeah.
much more human and bigger. Not that black bodies aren't human, but
No, 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 no. But I
it's
think we did
communicating
a
to a larger humanity than
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
just us.
we did a lot of work years ago on making sure we were not making fun of anybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really important thing. Just before we were going into playwrights off Broadway, to make sure we're not making fun, make sure we're not lampooning or like doing that like, oh, bless your heart thing, which is really not about blessing or your heart. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just making sure we're telling the truth. And that little note, I know for me as an actor, changed how I went at telling the story and playing these characters. And I think that now reads. I think an audience is more receptive to things when there's just a group of people telling the truth. If we were making fun of somebody, someone could be offended, and then therefore they're taken out of the story. So that we're coming outside of the theater now on Broadway and seeing, yesterday we had a Wednesday matinee, and it's typically on a Wednesday afternoon. Who's going to the theater? It's like the Long Island old blue-haired ladies, and they were eating it up.
Yeah.
They were standing outside the theater on
Yeah.
45th Street, just crying,
Yeah.
just talking about their families and talking about theirs. And they were so happy to have seen this. And they're like, this belongs on Broadway. This is what everybody needs to see. I can't, I can't believe that. I think
Yeah.
that's so awesome.
And here's the thing I will say is that like there are some people who are offended. Like
Yeah,
That's
I've
yeah.
true.
I know I've heard some of that. It's not like it's a very small minority, and everybody has their own thing on it. And there are some people who don't like that there are people crying outside the theater
Mm-hmm.
or like white ladies from Long Island. Like they feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's a threat to their enjoyment or their
Right.
ownership of the show in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like an interesting thing to think about. That
You
like,
said you were saying not to, you were saying that some people were offended by like some white women crying outside of the theater.
or not offended by that, but they think that it means that the show is doesn't like I don't like it's hard like it's really hard to parse this because it's like I on one hand I understand that there are people who are like this is a big black show,
Yeah.
queer show, whatever, and so
Mm-hmm.
therefore it's only for us.
Yeah.
So
Right.
then if there are other people who are having an emotional reaction to it along with me, then something's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Because we
And
have this natural instinct to be so separate from each
correct.
other. And that something like this that on paper says it is a big black queer ass story,
And it is.
and it is, and someone who doesn't fit into the big, the black, or the queer has had an emotional reaction.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
people in the oppression Olympics who feel as though, how dare you try to take my medal?
Right.
Like you can't have an emotion around something that's for me, when really it's, in a way, it's kind of everybody. Does everybody have a family? I
Yeah.
think so.
And
Okay.
Like,
also, Usher is not like Usher is going like Usher's family is Usher's family is black, but he's not like that's my black family over there.
Right.
It's
Right.
just my
Mm.
family. So you're
Mhm.
experiencing him experiencing his life as it happens, or as
Mm.
he perceives it happening.
Mhm.
It's not like some separate thing in third person, you know?
Right.
And I think some people get a little about
A
it.
little.
Mm.
I think
Like it's
I think I did have like some questions around like something, like some things. But I try to come in like objectively and not necessarily like hop on stuff. I'm like, well, I'm trying to understand what was the purpose of this. That's why I asked the question about the family thing, the family part of it. But I get it. I get some, I get some Black folks trying to hold on. I was like, girl, we don't have much. Like, don't take this away from me, girl. We don't have much. But so I get it. I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Michael, I was so struck. I forgot, and you reminded me of really how miserable you were when you were doing all of those like corporate jobs and stuff like that. I remember those like workshops or those times at like Joe's Pub when you would just like come in and it was like clear like you were just
over it.
So
yeah, and when I met James was at the height of like just the height of my misery at the agency I was working at. And I almost got fired from my job right at that moment because I had advertised the show at work and then somebody reported me to HR.
Was it that serious?
Oh yeah. And then
to them.
And like I was just like, it was just, and then like I had like two performers drop out of the concert, and then another one was like thinking about dropping out of the concert, and I was just like so exhausted with just trying to like just do something different in this little concert at Joe's Pub. And it was so I was like so grateful in that moment to meet James, who just came in, learned his music and just did it. And didn't
well, when you're trying to start your thing, you use your resources, and then you go to your maybe next circle out of like, okay, who are the friends who I might be able to reach out to, and you very quickly learn who's there for you and who's not. And I know as a performer coming here to New York, you meet all of the same people. You go into these holding rooms of 100 people who look just like you. They kind of sing like you. They kind of act like you. So you think they might be friends because you're seeing actually that's that mirror thing again. You see they look like me a little bit, but he wears his ring on the other finger. And all of those people warned me about this guy writing songs named Michael R. Jackson. And they literally, I say warned me because that was what the tone was of don't sing his music. It's too everything. It's too much. It's too out there. It's too scary. You'll never work in this town again. I was like, what? Not realizing like, who the hell are you to say you ain't working either. Like, so, but me being me, that only made me want to know everything about him immediately. So when I was asked to do it, I was like, I must do my job. Show up with the tools that I have and show up and do your job.
And one of them who dropped out of that concert recently came to the show.
Of course, yeah, I've seen all of them in the third or fourth row.
And they came up to me before, as he was going in, hugging me, congratulating me, everything. And I'm not, I don't hold a grudge usually, and I didn't.
Right.
Come on, allegedly.
But I will always remember. I will always. I forgive, but I never forget ever.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you should.
Because it's just so funny. Like it's just funny. Like people are funny. Yeah. People are funny.
So speaking of, I know we just talked about songs. The Inner White Girl song.
Yes.
I was listening to it earlier. I was like, okay, this is catchy. This is cute. And it made me think about, because you hear so often, like with Black queer folks, they're like, especially Black gay boys who will be like, I had my inner Naomi, my inner Beyonce, and all that other stuff. And I think you did something very specific when you talk about inner white girl. Inner white girl that they can do anything. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't know if people are catching it, but there's something being said about they can do anything. And Black boys are taught to obey. I was like, are y'all listening to the word? I know y'all moving around and grooving and stuff, but are y'all catching what is being told? I love that.
Do you have an inner white girl?
Now what's funny? I don't think it's no inner white girl.
A secret, I love that one Hillary Duff album. Or do you have one?
I'm very weird. I'm like the girls we talk about. Like I did not watch the Cheetah Girls. I did not watch I did not get into that. Like I listened to, of course, I listened to Britney Spears, Toxic. I think my favorite
She
album from Britney Spears,
qualifies.
she my favorite album I think from her is Circus. But I listened to um like I was listening to NSYNC, all of the boy, all the other stuff, but I didn't have that moment. I think Beyonce was probably the girl who did it for me because Radio, that song gravitated to me. I was like, girl, like this is my boyfriend. Like this is me singing to my man at 15 years old. But I got it. Like I got this song of Inner White Girl. I was like, okay, what is that? What is for you? What is like an what does Inner White Girl mean? What does that mean?
I think we all might have something different. I don't know.
Yes, that's what I'm curious to see. What do you think your inner white girl is, James? Your inner white girl, is she listening to Hillary Duff?
No, well, mine are older. So
Okay.
I'm definitely I'm a New Englander, so I'm an old white lesbian on the inside. I'm definitely an indigo girl. But here's why. Also, so going to college in Western Massachusetts, studying like in a music department that was predominantly white until I got there and was raising my hand and demanding certain things. But one of the things that taught me to sing comfortably as high as I can sing was singing along with the altos with the Indigo Girls.
Wow. Okay.
And that just brought me comfort in there's nobody here like me. I have to seek them out. This music is giving me comfort, and vocally it was giving me it helped me do well in what I was studying.
Okay.
Personal thing with the Indigo Girls, which is that shouldn't make sense, but kind of in my inner white girls in a way, because there's this history in just my story for me.
Period. I actually, when I left the play and I went to dinner, there was a white lesbian couple who
they were probably friends of mine.
they said they were excited. They had just got over COVID, and they were excited about going to see A Strange Loop later on in the week, but they wanted to stay in quarantine. So that's interesting. You met your girls was right there with you.
Yeah, yeah.
So for you, John, what is your inner white girl? What she look like? What's she listening to?
I mean, so I think it would have to be growing up in Kingston, Jamaica.
Period.
We used to get the American Top 40 every Friday night.
Ooh.
And of course, as a young kid, the one that was doing the thing was Madonna, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had this woman who was outrageous. She not the greatest singer, but people were talking about her. She was kind of making her own path, and her videos were interesting and da da da. I mean, for me, it was always Janet Jackson. But if there was a inner white girl who I was getting to hear in Kingston, Jamaica at that point in time was Madonna, and seeing Madonna and seeing her be sexual and be outrageous and having all of these people kind of come for her and her going right back for them. And so that idea,
it was something you hadn't seen.
Yeah, it was something that I hadn't seen, and it was something that was wow, you can be that outrageous. I mean, even Jamaican people were and that woman Madonna, you know what I mean? They were they would talk about she too much, but then seeing her music videos and all of that was oh, okay, you can have cone titties and just do all of that stuff and live in this way that was not the norm. Live in this way that was very much your own path. Once I got to college, then I started to hear more music and different people and different things. But I think the first one for me, the one that gave me the permission to kind of go, oh, there's another path maybe, was really Madonna.
Wow.
Okay. And Michael R. Jackson, who is your, and I feel like I already know, but I'm gonna let you surprise me.
I mean, I talked about them a lot. Like I have my three: Tori Amos, Liz
Yes,
Phair,
I was gonna say that.
and Joni Mitchell. Just, you know, and Tori was first because like when I was in high school, my cousin gave me 2 of her albums, and just the music, I just had never heard any music that was that beautiful ever before in a pop context, and that she was singing about things that were like really deep and emotional and secret. And I was just coming out, and I like didn't have any outlet to really talk about my feelings in a real way. And so her music, Tori's music, just gave me a lot of permission to explore. And then later, as I discovered, you know, Joni and Liz, they did as well in totally different ways. And it all just sort of fed my own artistic development, because I was just trying, as a writer, trying to find the way to express how I felt, and like what, and their freedom like really inspired me to be like, if they can be free, why can't I be free?
Exactly.
And so that's really what for me, was what that song is really about. It's not about like wanting to be a white woman. It's not about any self-hate in an obvious way, but it is about like seeing something that inspires you and trying to take some of it for yourself and transform it into something else, you know?
And I think everybody has a little something like that. They must. I think if you don't, then like, I think you're kind of lying to yourself a little bit. Like it wouldn't serve you to say, oh, that's not for me, so I'm never going to listen to anything like that. I'm never going to try anything like that.
And it's also not like I don't have like a million other inspirations that are not like white women. It's like, I mean, I put on Alita Adams and like I'm on a magic carpet ride.
Yeah.
Shaka Khan, I'm gone.
Okay.
The Clark sisters. Like, I mean, a million people. Jeffrey Osborne. Like, I Jeffrey Osborne all day and all night.
Woo,
Wow.
woo.
So many on the wings of love. You know, like, that's all I want.
Right.
Like, but like, it's just those 3 artists specifically really gave me something to like hitch my wagon to, and they gave me a path forward, like artistically, and I took it.
Okay, my three are Brandy, Beyonce, and Britney Spears.
Oh, the bees.
Right.
Yes, the
It's
3
the bees.
the 3 Bs. Brandy I grew up. That was my favorite, favorite. Yes. And I actually got a chance to meet her last year, and I was like about to break down. It shook me up. Like, it shook me up. I'm supposed to be interviewing her next month or the next 2 months or something.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I don't know how I'm gonna be gagging probably like the first 10 minutes, which normally doesn't happen that much, but I'm just gonna be I'm gonna be like in the moment, just like loving just speaking with her. It's gonna be a surreal moment for me. But I have truly enjoyed
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much, James. I appreciate that. But I've enjoyed this interview. I feel like y'all are opened up and y'all were just felt so comfortable, like us, like 4 Black queer folks all having a conversation in the chat. I'm not gonna lie, girl, I was shook. I was nervous. I was like pacing around the house, going up the stairs. I was like, what's going on? But I was like, I want to get this done, but I'm so nervous. Can we push it back? But I'm also thankful for you.
We're not scary.
Not at all. Not on stage, James. You were scary on stage. But also special thanks to you, Michael or Jackson. I know that you're in your COVID stage on day 6. You told us earlier. So I'm hoping that you feel better and you're doing your healing and drinking that Pedialyte. I'm a coconut water girl. Like, I felt that coconut water saves me because when I was in New York, I was tossing back every night because I was partying. I was like, girl, I'm gonna enjoy myself, but this coconut water, I need it.
Get the electrolytes. It's good.
Yeah, she makes a big difference. I've never done the Bloody Mary thing when people say you drink that the next day. Like, some people say you recover by drinking a Bloody Mary.
That's some Hell's Kitchen nonsense. That's not true.
Cold tomato soup.
No, no.
Well, thank you all so much again. I am keeping my fingers crossed for you all, the Tonys and all the other stuff. You all are so deserving. You all did a wonderful job, and shout out to all of you all. And you all enjoy the rest of your day. If any of you all want to go see the play, it is at the Lyceum Theater. Go check it out. It's running, girl. You're gonna see the billboard. She everywhere on the lights. She on the streets. She on everything. You have not heard about this play. I don't know, because I've seen it even before I was going to before I got invited to come see it. I knew about it. So thank you so much for being a part of this interview. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.